Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host Jay. I'm here with my co-host Brad.
This week really kind of underscores a fact that we've made, and a point that other people have made, that it's really stunning, like how disarming it is when you're massively corrupt, just out in the open, and not trying to hide it. And I'm not even talking about from like the people on the right wing not standing up to the shit, but just like the media continues to be just like toothless in the face of reporting on this stuff and calling it like it is, because they didn't get the information from a mysterious figure in a DC parking garage somewhere. Right? That's the and just because they're doing it so brazenly, and without any shame, and so they're following the playbook. But if they're not trying to hide it, then there's nothing wrong. But it's this is fucking awful. Actually,
I mean, that is literally the argument Mike Johnson was making about corruption from the Trump administration. Well, they're not hiding it, so surely it can't be bad. Pretty bad argument, I would say. Just a little bit of sort of inside baseball here. I sound maybe not like I normally do, and if you're watching video, I'm definitely not where I normally am. I am traveling. I'm actually in the U.S. I'm in the belly of the beast of fascism. Is that right? So,
you really are in this case. So
yeah,
that's so you can be.
I am as close to DC as I've ever been in the last 2 years, but I'm at my in-laws' house, so that's why there's, for some strange reason, a knitted image of a cock, of a chicken or a rooster or whatever. I don't know. I don't get
it. Frankly, I'm surprised they let you back in. Did they check your phone for any dank memes that they didn't want to have?
I hid all the logos of my social media apps or anything that I chat with off of my homepage. I didn't delete them. I was like, I'm a little too lazy to have to then go back and add them. So I just hid them, and they never asked. So that was cool, which is wild because I came in through Miami, which I have to imagine would be a place where they're like looking for illegals or bad Americans or whatever.
The fact that you felt the need to even do it in the first place
is sad. Yeah, it does. If I was by myself, I wouldn't have done that. But considering I'm on vacation with my wife and daughter, not really trying to get into a huge argument and get sent back home, fucking up our vacation for the year. Probably not a thing my wife is really going to be like, oh yeah, no, totally worth it. This type of thing. Sorry, Daddy's going in handcuffs. This is weird. But no, luckily there was no issues, which is great. It was a legitimate concern in the back of my mind, to be honest. Mm-hmm. We were off last week because of my traveling, and so we're trying to sort of sporadically do shows as we can for all of the shows in TMP Studios as my schedule allows.
Except for Dense Pixels, which will come via that time, same bat channel.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Because I'm not there to fuck it up, is basically it. I'll figure out a way. But yeah, look, so over the last 2 weeks has been a little nuts, right? And I'm sort of following it as much as I can while I'm around. And what I have definitely learned is that the right wing not only continues to be corrupt, I mean, that is nothing new, but there is just a level of brazenness that has happened over the last couple of months that has just hit a fever pitch. I mean, I saw a clip of a guy, I guess he's on Newsmax or one of those, like, Fox News Jr. type of channels, and he was literally trying to convince his listeners that Ghislaine Maxwell was a victim in all of this. And it's like, what? Like, bro, she's serving 20 years, which in my opinion is too little. They should put you, as old black people like to say, under the jail for what you did. But it's like they're working their way into convincing the right, like, no, she's innocent. It's okay if we pardon her when we pardon her. It's going to be totally fine. And it's just like, it's weird to see the corruption happening in real time, and in slow motion, right in front of you. It's like they're not even hiding it at this point. So to your point, that should be a bigger deal than I think people are making it out to be.
Yeah. Well, and you know, if they said it on Fox, it might be. Even Fox hasn't crossed that Rubicon
Yeah,
to be
no,
like
not yet,
actually
but
it would be a it's a miscarriage of justice that she's in prison actually.
yeah. I mean, look, I think Fox News 5 years ago might have gone that route, but Fox $787 million lighter in the pocket. They're like, this is not worth it. Let Newsmax run out there and
Right.
let them be the hero of this. So yeah, it's been a hell of a couple of weeks. So look, we like some good fighting, right? Being pricks for justice is okay by me and Brad. So Dems are finally ready to fight fire with fire, as you wrote in the docket. First off, like the big story really is that Texas Democrats have decided that they were going to leave the state, breaking the quorum needed for voting, because
Right.
Texas Republicans decided that they were going to work to gerrymander basically 5 more House seats for Republicans, thus eliminating 5 Democrats, basically.
Yeah, so for those that don't realize like how kind of fucked up the situation is, this is very similar and equivalent to like the hey, we're not going to vote on Merrick Garland for SCOTUS because we're making up a rule that says we don't have to do this kind of shit. So usually redistricting happens every 10 years because it's usually in conjunction with the census. So the census happens, the demographics are looked at, and then legislations or independent redistricting commissions, depending on what state you're in, will then look at the maps and say, all right, like, do we have the right representation set up here? Are the districts drawn correctly? Yada, yada, yada. So because Republicans have had a tough time in the House, even during this period of unified government during the Trump administration, because of the tight margins, and because they also know that a couple of these purple seats in New York, among other places, they're almost certain to lose
100%
in the next midterm election. They're trying to rig the game, as they usually do. And that's where this Texas gerrymander thing is coming into play. And the justification for them doing it is them saying, well, we're doing it because the rules don't say that we can't do it. And Texas is a Republican state, so we should have more Republican representation. Now, I will point out, for those that don't already realize, Texas already is a gerrymandered state.
Super gerrymandered.
Like when it comes to how the districts are drawn. This would only further gerrymander it. Basically, I think reducing Democrats to something like 3 seats, I want to say, or maybe 4 in Congress, which to say nothing else of the state legislature as well. And so it's a fucked up situation. Texas is already overrepresented by Republicans based on voting results, based on how much the voting that we see in terms of how many Democrats versus how many Republicans there are. Not that you should be deciding district lines based on voting data anyway, which is kind of a big deal. And so they tried to hold a legislative session in order to jam this through. Now, as Jay mentioned, the Texas Democrats in the state legislature who don't have the votes to be able to stop this from happening, but they can stop it from happening if they just don't show up to work, essentially, because the Texas legislative rules require there to be a quorum. I don't know exactly how many, what percentage of the legislature needs to be there. 2/3 in order to be there. But Democrats do have enough representation in that chamber to deny Republicans a quorum. So not only did they not show up to work, but because they knew that if they just simply stayed home, that the sergeant at arms would basically haul their ass in to the chamber in order to participate in the vote, they fled the state instead, which was a fantastic fuck you to what Texas is trying to do here, and basically fled to Illinois, where Illinois is granting them, I guess you could say, safe harbor,
asylum,
right from being able to be drawn back by Texas. So, obviously, the legislators in Texas are not happy about this in any way, shape, or form. Greg Abbott decided to roll up and try to see if
really,
he could
Brad?
figure out
Really,
how
Brad?
to,
Really? Roll up. Roll up.
I'm just using a normal turn of phrase.
Sure.
Decided to try to remove these Democrats from their seats.
Was he leading the way, Brad? Was he leading the way?
No, I don't know if I'd say that so much. I mean, he's really spinning his wheels, if anything. So, and then Attorney General Ken Paxton, in between divorce hearings, is trying to get an Illinois court to actually have Illinois law enforcement arrest them and bring them back to Texas.
Okay. So this is a wild thing. By the way, you totally missed my joke. I'm saying leading the way because that's a Hot Wheels statement.
Okay.
God damn it, Brad. So here's the thing. Wanting the Texas Democrats to be arrested, Ken Paxton is one of the most corrupt politicians, not just in Texas. I mean, certainly the most corrupt in Texas, if not the entire country, outside of Trump, perhaps. Right? This guy has a laundry list of things that he has done that have been massively illegal. Most of it, which he's been like, I've looked into myself, and I did nothing wrong. That's sort of been his solution to a lot of it. What I find interesting is very few people are talking about what the rules are to break a quorum in Texas. One of them is basically the law is if the legislature is trying to pass laws that violate the civil rights or the rights of Texas citizens, you are allowed to break quorum for that reason, which is exactly what they're doing. So all this bluster about we're going to arrest them, even Trump is trying to get involved, and I'll explain why that is in a second. But even Trump has gotten involved and says the FBI is going to go and be involved in arresting these people. Even if you arrest them, which, okay, very weird move, very silly, but also very Gestapo Nazi-esque, which is kind of their theme these days. But even if you do that, you can't force a person to come to work. This isn't slavery. Cool, I'm back in Texas. I'm going to stay home today. You can't put them in the room and be like, you're going to vote. No, I'm not gonna. That's stupid, right? The only reason why they fled Texas is because they don't want to sit in a jail cell, because they know that Abbott and Ken Paxton will do that. Which, by the way, again, they're breaking quorum for a legal reason. Also, at the same time, you have Republicans being like, yeah, the Democrats are the worst. What is happening in Congress on the federal level right now? Congress literally shut down because they're like, we don't want to have to keep... Republicans are like...
vote on the Epstein files.
Right. They literally shut it down for 2 months because they don't want to have to answer these very obvious, oh my God, our boss is a pedophile questions. Allegedly.
Well, and it's also important to realize why Abbott and Paxton are going so hard in the paint on this right away is because, for those who don't realize, state legislatures are not like federal legislators where they're in session all the time. Often if you're a state legislature, that legislator, that's often a part-time job almost for you, because you're the legislature is only in session for specific periods of the year, and then they might adjourn for several months before they have to convene again, unless the governor calls a special session, which also has additional rules and stuff like that as well. So the Democrats it's not like they're going to run away to Illinois and just we live in Illinois now, I guess, that stinks. No, they're just running out the clock, because there will come a point where they won't be able to pass this. And I'm pretty sure if they were to if they don't redraw the lines this year, then they can't do it next year, because next year is actually the election year. So you can't do it, while the plane is in the air. You have to have it in place before people vote.
Right, and just keep in mind, the special session is set to conclude August 19th. That's 12 days. Just they can Governor Abbott can call, has the authority to call additional special sessions. But, okay, cool, you called a session. We ain't in town that day, bro. It's just not that serious.
And the other thing is too, even if you're able to somehow get them back and vote and pass this thing, it's almost certainly going to get challenged in court. They're going to sue to stop it from happening. Now, obviously, will some Texas district court,
of course,
impose an injunction to stop the maps from being redrawn for the election? No, obviously not. Like, they'll let the plan continue forward. Right. But the more you, we've seen Republicans utilize this strategy before. The more you run out the clock, and the more you drag force people to drag their feet on things, the easier it is to kind of skirt past. So, this was a brilliant move by these Democrats to deny quorum onto this issue. It's literally the only card they had to play, essentially.
Right.
Because and cool of them to be all unified to be able to do that as well. Because that's a tough thing as well.
Right, because the last time they did this was in 2021 over COVID things, and they ended up ultimately disagreeing and kind of breaking up their team, which, unfortunately, that happened to them. Now, look, quorum, blocking quorums or breaking quorums in Texas has almost, I don't think has ever worked, right? Like, eventually, these things get voted on and they pass or they don't pass, whatever. But I'm more interested in sort of the symbolic aspects of it than actually I am with this. And it's not just that the Democrats in Texas are all together on this. It's at the national level of Democrats are for this, right? So you're seeing, and this is one of those things that this is the type of shit in politics I love, because sometimes you can think that you're doing something a couple of years ago that makes you like, we're rigging the game, we're making it work, and then it turns out it bites you in the ass. Because, as you mentioned earlier, Texas Republicans have gerrymandered the shit out of the state, right? So this is like the last blood they can squeeze out of that rock, right? And look, Trump is the main sort of catalyst for this, because he came in and was like, I think Texas could get 5 more seats and that would be totally fine, right? Because he
not
needs
only did he say that, he said like the rhetoric advanced as he kept being asked about it, and I think I don't know if this is the exact language he used, but this was definitely the sentiment. If not, we're entitled to those seats. Essentially, it's kind of like the way that he described it, which again, like, it is literally the most anti-democratic thing that it's one thing to like do gerrymandering and like with a wink and a nod, right? To be like, hey, like, no, actually we should pick our voters instead of the voters picking their politicians. That's just blatantly fucking saying,
right,
out, like, just out in the open. Which again, like, his inability to be subtle about anything, always a boon for us on the side that's trying to fight. So
it's like he just tweeted it out, right? Like, that's the same. It's just like, oh, I wonder what he's going to say. Like, he just doesn't give a shit. So, and he pays no price for that, seemingly. So, I think the reason why he's also pushing this is because I think he knows what a lot of other people know that are really paying attention. If they have a fair election and they're trying to make sure that it isn't fair in the midterms, Republicans are going to get curb stomped, for lack of a better phrase, by Democrats. They are going to get fucking routed, and they should, right? Like, just destroyed. Like, this should be the worst election midterm that any party has ever had. Like, it should be, and it shouldn't even be close, right?
But here's the irony, right? So they're trying to do this in Texas to claw back 5 seats. But because Republicans have been embarking on the gerrymander project for basically the last 15 years,
right? And this is the point. This is the point I was going to make.
There's not a whole lot else they can do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the brazenness to which so one of two things is true when it comes to Democrats here. Either the brazenness of Republicans, like literally pulling out all the stops to do this and going against the established rule book, has pissed off Democrats so much that they're now looking to react elsewhere, or Democratic lawmakers finally caught up in the look-forward backlog to episodes from 3 or 4 years ago where we talked about how you should be gerrymandering the shit out of blue states all the time in order to fight fire with fire. One of those two things is true. Who could say? Don't know. I'm going to choose to believe the latter, probably.
Yes, of course.
Oh, like, good idea. These two chaps know what they're talking about.
Yeah, look, Gavin Newsom, if you're listening, and we know that you are, look, it's to that point, right? If you've already gerrymandered, let's say, I'm just throwing out just like a random number. If you've already gerrymandered Texas to like 90% of as far as you can kind of get it, right? Where you just like you put all the
And
Democrats in these like little space.
And you've done it in North Carolina, and you've done it in Wisconsin, and you've done it in not Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's bad. You've done it in Florida. And
you've tried to do it in Georgia.
You've tried to do it in Georgia. In Ohio. Like you've done it in all of these states where you have the ability to do that. You're kind of out of moves to make on the chessboard,
right?
But now because you overstepped. More than you did before. Clearly you overstepped before, but because you did it so flagrantly, now you have who would normally be centrist Democrats who would be like, oh, we don't want to upset the norms and we don't want to engage in this type of political fighting, that are stepping up to be like, oh, you want to fucking play this game? Like, oh, we'll gerrymander you right out of the fucking state.
Yeah, like so. Gavin Newsom was the first one. He was like, nah, like, let's fucking go, right? And then you got Kathy Hochul in New York, who came out as well. It's like, look, we will gerrymander the fuck out of New York and California, and y'all won't have any seats. Like, and which would give, between New York and California, and now J.B. Pritzker, who is the governor of Illinois, he's also saying, like, not saying I won't do it either. Like, that completely wipes out any benefit that you would have of doing this.
Between those three states alone, if they were to follow through with it, that's like 15 seats basically.
Yeah, in the House,
and that doesn't include other Democratic states who might also want to get it on the game to make a fucking point. Like even Maryland, already gerrymandered towards Democrats at like a 7-1 clip, be like, nah, we'll pick up that extra.
We'll go 8. We can go 8-0, baby.
8-0. It's fine.
Yeah,
like we'll do it.
Yeah, it is all Eastern Shore.
See you later, Andy Harris. Piss off. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and look, there's only two outcomes, right? Is that Democrats have so much more road to run to gerrymander their states to then get an outsized advantage, right? Because they've been trying to play by the rules. This is one of those times where you go, see, Democrats shouldn't have been played by the rules. But actually, letting Republicans, this definitely was not their plan, but it just happened to work out for them. Having Republicans gerrymander the shit out of it, and you staying true to the rules and all this other shit, now, at the end game, you got way more road to run. And they're just like, well, we only have 5 more seats. And you're like, we got 8 in California alone. like we can play this game all day. So
now to be fair, I disagree that they should have waited. Like as soon as Republicans started doing this shit in the mid, like around 2010,
agreed.
2020, you should have been doing the same thing. Because again, as Jay and I talked about before, the only way that you are going to get to a national anti-gerrymandering law is if you show Republicans it's in their interest actually to have independent redistricting commissions everywhere.
Right. And so, like I was saying, there are only two outcomes. Either all the states are gerrymandered to hell, depending on who controls the legislature and the governor's offices, or very simply, the Supreme Court goes, all this shit is illegal. This is ridiculous. We need to have a proper way of handling this. That's it. And to me, either one of those positions works out well, right? But like,
I don't like it in the hand of the Supreme Court because if you do let it happen in the Supreme Court, they won't decide it as like a national thing.
Right. It needs to be an all or none.
They will rule on each state by state, and they'll of course like let Republicans have their gerrymanders and probably crack down on the Democratic ones because that's how the fucking rolls. Like you need a law.
And it's an all or nothing.
Hey,
all or nothing.
Legislatures don't get to draw districts anymore. Every state has an independent redistricting committee that will draw the lines, and that's the end.
Yeah, and look, there was a redistricting sort of like national survey type of thing, right? Or like a commission looking at all the states, giving them a sort of A through F rating of like how properly district they are. California, without any of the shit that's going on, California was a B or B plus, I think, and Texas was already an F. Right. So that already goes to show you just how bad Texas is to start, before they're even doing these votes to try to pick up 5 more seats. They already are very much at the edge of what they can do. If it's worth it to you to pick up 5 seats, where you're going to then blow another 15 to 20 seats nationwide, okay, man, sure. And just keep in mind, every state that is run by Republicans and controlled by Republicans are already extremely gerrymandered. All of them. So
again, I've talked about this anecdote before on the podcast, but I still feel the need to bring it up because, again, it just kind of shows the mindset for Republicans. Back in 2010, when North Carolina, which is a purple state, like North Carolina definitely leans Republican, but it is a very even state because they have a couple like medium-sized cities that are mostly blue, right? They brought in a Republican operative who specializes in this shit to draw their lines, and he managed to find a 10-3 Republican gerrymander on the federal level. And when he was interviewed later afterwards saying, hey, why did you draw it 10-3 for Republicans? His literal response was, because I couldn't find a way to make it 11-2.
There you go. They're telling you. They're telling you. They do not care.
And this was 15 years ago.
Right. So play hardball. There's no need to be nice. There's none. So look, I love that. Last thing about this. Look, J.B. Pritzker, you're not slick. Okay,
our future president, J.B. Pritzker.
Look. Sometimes you have to send a billionaire to beat a billionaire. Okay, like you just do. As I saw, because I like J.B. Pritzker a lot. I actually think he's got a lot of good things to say. He seems like a fighter. Seems like a smart guy. The one thing that bothers me is like this guy is a billionaire, right? Like, and I don't trust him. I don't trust any billionaires, and neither should you. They don't have the best track record. But at the same time, and it was pointed out to me, and I hate that it was pointed out to me because it is very obvious, and it makes me have to reconsider my opinion truly, which is there was a time in the United States where we had a president who was one of the richest, most elite people in the country. And he was he was a goddamn class traitor, and he was. FDR was a class traitor. He was. And he spent his entire presidency kicking rich people right in the back and helping poor people. So is it possible to have another class traitor? It's possible. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't dismiss him out of hand like that.
All you can do is look at the record, and so far the record's pretty good in terms of J.B. Pritzker and his bona fides as he's run Illinois as governor. So
look, I like it. I wouldn't be mad at it. Give me a Pritzker Buttigieg team. I'm not mad at that. Like, I wouldn't be mad at it.
I don't know. Pete's catching flack now because he's not full-throatedly supporting trans people. So,
wait, what?
He's running on the we have to listen to people who talk about
come on, man,
being fair because we need to at least hear them and reasonable concerns and this that and that. It's just like, bro, like read the room, Pete.
Yeah, that is not the hill to die on. Like, also not for you. Like, this is a very odd choice, but
especially not for you. Yeah,
yeah. Look, I'm not in that community, but that feels a little. Really? Like, really, bro? Like, that's wild. That's a wild statement. But okay, like, don't do that. Stranger things have happened, I suppose. News you need this week. Look, we don't have to stick on it too long because I don't want to get too depressed
here because of who wrote it. So
no, ironically, I didn't see who wrote it until I didn't notice it until I clicked on it. Look, Mehdi Hassan, the GOAT, wrote an article about, look, there's a genocide happening in Gaza, and U.S. is complicit in this, and we need to stop pretending that that's not true. Look, he's 100% correct. I mean, the images coming out of this.
He's been banging this drum on his own media network for literally the past year. This is just him being able to have a national platform in The Guardian to be able to say. So.
Yeah, and it's a good article, and you should go back and read it. But I mean, the images coming out of there, like these starvation images and stuff like that, I just fundamentally don't understand how you can look at this and be like, it seems fine. Or no, it's not really that bad. Like, it's as bad as you think it is, and it's actually probably worse, to be honest.
I mean, it tells you all you need to do when the reports that came out a couple weeks ago of some of the individual children who were dying of starvation in Gaza, and then the right wing pushback on that was, well, this kid over here had a pre-existing condition, so it's not fair to say that he died of starvation when he had a pre-existing illness that could have been an underlying factor. So
that's insane. Cool. So we're going with the George Floyd argument of like, come on, man. Like, you can see this shit with your own eyes. But the U.S. is complicit in this, and to Mehdi's point,
we will be if we continue.
No, we already are.
Weapons.
We already are.
Yeah, we are based on what's happened so far, but we will continue to be if we continue to supply arms to them as well. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's just gross. But I think it's going to be one of those things where we look back and go, how the fuck were we even remotely involved in this? And it's like, yeah, because we're doing really dumb shit, and it's just not worth it. And by the way, not even just a sort of moral look back, but there's also like, you will reap blowback from this, from the Arab world, from whomever. You will receive blowback from this. It's impossible to think that you won't.
Well, and here's the thing too: that Republicans know that they're on shaky ground with this because they're trying to move the goalposts and they're trying to reframe the issue as much as they can. Like, I saw an interview with Mike Lawler today, who's a Republican congressman from New York, who basically tried to say, well, if you're anti-Zionist, that is also anti-Semitism. And it's like, no, it's not, dude. Like, I know you don't believe that. Like, you're just kind of saying that because you just want to make sure that, things stay in lockstep on that side. But no, dude. Like, no. That's a wild thing to say.
Yeah, no, like, there are quite literally millions of Jewish people who are not Zionists. Like, you can't just be like, you also hate Jews. Like, but I am one. Like, wait a minute. Like, that's me. So come on, that's nonsense. And yeah, and the idea of conflating Zionism with Judaism is just ridiculous. I mean, obviously there are overlapping circles, in that, but like, as a one-to-one, no, shut up. Like, come on. And look, I know plenty of people who absolutely, support a Jewish state and things like that, for cultural reasons and everything else. But it's like, you can't just go and walk and take somebody's land and be like, this is ours now, because a book said so. It's like, but I live here. Like, yeah, I get that. But do you, though? Like, that doesn't work.
But the book that was allegedly written 2,000 years ago says otherwise. So
and then changed again, and then parts taken out, and then parts added in by different people. Right. Yeah, sure, why not? So it's really disgusting what's happening. When people talk about like their tax dollars, like, I don't want my tax dollars like paying for kids' lunches. Weird statement by humans. But like, I don't want my tax dollars going to this shit. This is the type of stuff that people should be like, I don't want my tax dollars going to sending bullets and bombs to do things like this to people, and to help bolster a army so that they can starve out people. Like, that's what I don't want my tax dollars going to, which is, should seem obvious, but for a lot of people it's not.
Yep.
I don't get why. Next up, RFK Jr. is a moron? Or
I feel like that's being way too
wildly generous.
Yeah.
I believe Stephen Colbert called him a roided up Nepo carny the other day, which was pretty good.
That's not bad. Mush brain fucking moron.
Also works.
That I feel like works pretty well. Bear fucking whale killing piece of shit. Also, I think is okay.
Any of these work.
Guys, so RFK Jr. fucked a bear corpse.
I mean, no, not allegedly. He did. You heard it here first. That's how you got the brain worm. Everyone knows that. So RFK Jr. cancels $500 million in funding for vaccine development. So the health secretary criticized mRNA vaccines in a video on his social media accounts, explaining that the decision to cancel the projects being led by the nation's leading pharmaceutical companies, including Pfizer and Moderna, that offer protection against viruses like the flu, COVID-19, and H5N1. Quote, to replace the troubled mRNA programs, we're prioritizing the development of safer, broader vaccine strategies like whole virus vaccines and novel platforms that don't collapse when viruses mutate. Which is a really weird statement, and I will tell you why. So, doing some more research on this, I already knew RFK Jr. was a fucking idiot, so I didn't need to research that part. But I did want to compare what we know, especially about like COVID-19, very specifically in its vaccines, versus what he suggested, right? Which is this idea of like whole virus vaccines or novel platform vaccines, right? One, mRNA vaccines are a part of the novel platform of vaccines. Like, it's not an all or nothing, just so we're clear. Mm-hmm. But like, you may ask the question of like, what are the differences, right? So, like, whole virus vaccines are ones that they use for like the traditional polio vaccine. And Sinopharm is a pharmaceutical company. They made their COVID-19 vaccine from that, right? These are basically where they take the entire active virus and like kind of grow it in an egg or like virus cell cultures. And so you're basically exposed to the full virus versus sort of a part of the virus or a dead, version of the virus and things like that, like in other vaccines, right? This is a very slow process. This takes a lot longer. The production is slower because it requires growing these cultures in eggs and so on and so forth. The inactivated types often require boosters, right? This is a thing that the right wing complained about. How many boosters you got? RFK Jr.'s idea would also require boosters, so that's not a benefit. He says that it doesn't get, basically it works better when there's mutations. That's not true. You'll be shocked to know how wrong he is about that. When you're talking about when the variants came, like Omicron, it dropped the virus or the vaccine effectiveness down to 20 to 40%, right? Which is significant, right? That's 60 to 80% drop. But that's without any boosters. The whole virus vaccines that he's talking about, again, that are slower to develop, had an even larger drop than that. It had the largest out of the three. So it is the least effective when there are variants. And as we know, there are still variants. It's also harder to make boosters and updates for it because of the way they're designed. So if we got rid of, which we apparently are, doing these mRNA vaccines, not only are vaccines going to take longer, but when we need boosters and updates, that is not going to be as quick. So they're literally doing this out of political reasoning. Like, Donald Trump was saved. His life was saved because of these things. These very bleeding
alongside millions of people around the world, because
who matter more.
Again, like people. Again, mRNA vaccines are a new phenomenon. Like this is something that's been developed in the last basically decade, and they were so effective in developing a vaccine for COVID-19. They won the Nobel Prize in 2021. Like the folks that had that breakthrough,
right? That
developed this shit. And again, there was a time where like back when a polio vaccine was developed, like that was celebrated around the world because of how many like scientific breakthroughs used to be celebrated in this country. It used to be met with great applause and relief. But because we made the decision to elect the worst person president, who made the second worst person, who's a fucking kook, in charge of the health of everyone in this country, we all get to suffer the consequences, which is incredible.
So I do want to correct something a little bit. While the COVID vaccine is the first mRNA approved like fully approved vaccine. No, this has been around really for 35 years.
Okay.
So, like during Zika, when that was like really, really a thing, and like 2010, or excuse me, 2013, like they were doing mRNA to try to solve that. So, the concept has been around since the 1990s, but they had been working on this. So, like, the problem is, and I know you're not saying this, but like the problem is, a lot of people just make the assumption like they had this idea, like crazy idea, like let's do it, like when the COVID came out. But they've been working on this shit for so long, and what they're realizing, and what we realize is because of the way it works, you can in fact develop these changes so fast, and you can get this stuff out in sometimes like they can develop some of these in weeks, which is amazing. That's what you want. I don't understand why people are like, take your time, keep it slow. People are dying, man.
Well, and this is the irony. The one thing that during the first Trump administration that he received pretty much universal praise for, like the single solitary thing, was Operation Warp Speed, was getting a COVID vaccine developed quickly enough that it was able to be impactful within less than a year of the pandemic hitting like U.S. shores. Like that's the one thing that he did in the first administration that people were like, yeah, that was good. Like that was a good
like universally. Like even I hate the guy, and I'm like, yeah, no, it was a good idea.
Yeah, almost enough to make up for the fact that he told us to inject bleach in ourselves to try to cure COVID-19.
Almost. They were so close, so close.
What if they shine the light into the body?
Into the body. Is there a way that we could clean the lungs? Yeah, you drink it first, and you let us know how it's going. Jesus Christ. I will never forget that. Like, what? I'm sorry? This is your idea? Get off the stage. Yeah, so this stuff has been around for quite some time. So whenever you hear a right-winger say, like, they just came out with this 10 minutes ago, that's not true. That's not true.
Even if they had.
It saved millions of billions of lives.
Like, it worked. But again, like you know, right wingers, or I shouldn't even say right wingers because vaccine skepticism exists on multiple.
Unfortunately, yes, that's true.
Even like people that are vaccine skeptics, they will point to, you know, the handful of cases where like it wasn't effective, right, or where complications may have arisen, not realizing that this is a fucking percentage game, right? Like, you know, if it's 99.9% effective, like that's pretty good. Obviously, like there is still 0.1% that's going to be a fucking problem, but I feel like that's worth it to save the other 99.9% instead of a situation where like maybe 50% of those people would suffer severe consequences if this wasn't available.
Right, and just the idea of being like, well, you know, that like 7 dudes, got really sick or whatever, or they couldn't take the vaccine, so we got to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay, you don't use it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take the risk so that I don't die to do this. I mean, there's talk right now that they are working on. They're doing trials to cure influenza, RSV. Which RSV is kind of a big thing if you have a kid. Like every parent knows what RSV is because their kids are filthy little petri dishes and they bring it home and get everyone sick. HIV and some cancer immunotherapies. So because I forget which cancer they were working on recently, but yeah, if they can use that and it solves things like HIV or certain cancers or all cancers, all right. MAGA, you don't get to use it. Okay, like, fine. Sign on the dotted line when they come up with a cure for cancer. Like, oh, no. You sign up for RFK's healthcare. Here's a bucket of leeches and heroin and roadkill. You figure it out. Oh, and we sprinkled some ivermectin on it, for good measure. So, taking $500 million away from this sort of development is insane. All it tells me is all of those companies will continue developing these things, and then we will pay an arm and a leg for it because we're not connected to these companies where we otherwise would be.
Yep.
It's obvious. And look, Donald Trump says he's going to lower drug prices by 1,500%. So it'll probably all work out, right?
Yeah,
Don't think about that.
Out.
Yeah, don't think about that too well if you got past first grade math. They'll be paying you. They'll be paying you for
That's
the
right.
drugs.
15 times what they're worth in order to take it. That's what's going to happen there. Incredible.
What an idiot.
There is some good news on the vaccine front. So while RFK is doing everything he can to break down the Americans' access to vaccines, many states are working very hard to ensure that their residents at least will still be able to get access to a lot of these critical vaccines, including for COVID. And things like that as well. So basically, they're using federalism to try to do an end around RFK's dumbassery to try to make sure that science still checks out in the United States, which is good. So look, if you're in a state, primarily blue states that care about such things, then be happy that your representatives are working hard to try to keep you safe. And if you're in a red state, good luck.
Yeah. Okay. Again, your bucket of leeches will be in the back for you. Next up, this week in space, they have decided, the White House has ordered NASA to deliberately destroy 2 important satellites monitoring climate change. So they're going to scuttle these satellites, and what that means is they're going to make it so that they crash into the upper atmosphere and burn up. Why? Because they don't like data and they don't like facts. And that shit is mad whack, son. We'd rather just go on our feelings. According to NPR, the data from the satellites provides detailed information about carbon dioxide and crop health. The outlet stated that the objects are the only 2 federally used satellites that provide information built to specifically monitor planet-warming greenhouse gases. It is currently unclear why the Trump administration seeks to destroy the satellites. It is not unclear. We know why. Because they are a bunch of science-denying troglodytes. That's why.
Spoiler alert, this sounds an awful lot like the climate change version of, hey, if we stop testing for COVID, then our infection rates will look better. And if you just pretend like it doesn't exist, it'll all go away.
Yeah. They need to bring in Jonathan Swan for this movie.
About it. That's the problem.
Yeah. Like if you just keep testing, the infections will go up. What? They need to bring Jonathan Swan in to do the interview with former Road Rules contestant, who is now head of NASA, which is disturbing on a level I cannot explain to you. My imposter syndrome is officially dead. You shouldn't have it.
If you still hang on to it at this point in your life, just don't.
Just don't. Read the news.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Anybody can have any. You could be head of NASA. I don't know how to spell NASA. It doesn't even matter. The head of Social Security didn't even know what it did. Okay? He didn't even know. It's fine. You just got to be a Republican. You could say anything. So they're going to scuttle these 2 satellites. Cool. We don't have it on the docket, but facts are really a pesky issue for this administration. Just recently, the Board of Labor Statistics came out with their revised numbers for the last 2 months.
We should have had this on there. Holy shit! I can't believe we missed this.
Yeah, well, there's a few things happening right now. Yeah. And they came out with their revised numbers for the jobs numbers for the last 2 months, and instead of it being 258,000 jobs created over the last 2 months, it was 19,000.
Yeah.
And now there is part of me that thinks I looked it up. I'm like, how could they be off by 90%? That is absolutely insane. But then I realized how it works, which is these jobs are I think there's 1,200 businesses that are a part of this the survey, right? So it's not 100% accurate how many jobs are being created, but it's a pretty good rough estimate that most businesses are okay, it's I got it. You can see these are non-agricultural jobs, by the way, so you can kind of get a sense of where the economy is and employment is. And so they send out, the government sends out this survey. Hey, like, what are your numbers? Like, how many people have you hired? How many people have left? That sort of thing, right? And they have a window to send this information in. And my guess is the reason. By the way, the reason why the numbers get revised. This happens every month. It's not just under the Trump administration. They get revised because sometimes some of the companies are like, "Oh, we sent you the like incorrect information. We want to correct this by like a couple thousand jobs or 500 jobs," or they're just late to send the surveys in, which is probably more common than not. My guess, and this is just my guess, I actually don't know, but my guess is they jazzed up the numbers based on just what they thought they would be, plus like crank it up a little bit, and then they got the numbers for real, and then they were like, "Ooh, this is not good."
Well, and to your point, something you may not realize, I actually did see an article about this since you brought it up. A lot of businesses that traditionally did participate in this monthly survey are not now. Like literally half of the businesses that
interesting
would participate in this aren't now. So no, the data that they're getting back in isn't as good as it has been in the past. And yeah, they were overestimating pretty severely for the last 2 months,
clearly.
Especially.
Yeah.
How and this is probably going to be the same. Now, what you're getting at, and what we should talk about real quick is that because they had an embarrassing, like even the initial numbers for July or for June were embarrassing to the administration because I think they only reported like 76,000 new jobs or something like that, which is insanely low. Trump's response to that was to fire the head of the non-political head of the agency who gathers and produces these statistics because he didn't like the results that were coming out. And just today in the Oval Office, he brought in one of his hack economists, a guy named Stephen Moore, who was in Project 2025, that just created a bunch of bullshit charts to make it seem like things were going better than they are. Charts that also included the average medium medium income of US households.
It's not too small, not too big, just a little medium income. Just like good one. Right.
Yeah. In case you're wondering the level of economic aptitude that these guys are putting forward.
These are the same guys who are like, look, I practice the 3 R's in school: reading, writing, and arithmetic. Right? Like, these are the geniuses we're working with.
Probably the same guys who told them, like, "Hey, actually, tariffs are a great way to stimulate the economy."
Surely, what could go wrong? Oh, businesses are failing. Weird. Yeah, I mean, it is just kind of amazing. I mean, look forward. No pun intended here. But look forward to next month's job numbers being. Oh, they created 500,000 jobs. Insane numbers. Like, whatever the highest number it is, whatever the highest number is.
You think that they would restrain themselves that much, like 500,000?
You think they're going 1 million jobs?
2 million. Yeah,
2 million jobs. Everyone's got 2 jobs. It's amazing. But what they will do is they're going to look historically. What is the highest amount of jobs? Probably during the Biden and Obama administration, maybe even the Clinton administration, and they're going to put it just a little bit above that. Like, if that's 600,000, there'll be 700,000 or something like that.
Here's the best part: economists who do know what the fuck they're doing, because people, when they saw the low jobs number for June, they're just like, "Oh, like this is probably because of the tariffs." And economists were like, "No, like the impact of the tariffs, like." Truly has not been felt. Like you have not seen the tariffs impact yet. Like that's a slow burn that takes a lot of time to make its way through the system. This is because of immigration. This is because they're cracking down so hard on immigration that you have less people coming in that are able to, fill a lot of these positions. And again, as Jay mentioned, these are non-agricultural jobs. Like people have a very skewed view and be like, oh, like everyone's coming up from Mexico to go work in the fields. Like, no, that's not what we're talking about here.
No, and look, if you want to make it a little bit more sort of more clear here, like we're talking like legal immigration. These are people who don't want to come here to get H1 or HB1 or H1B visas, right? These are people not wanting to come from India and China and maybe from Canada. They don't want to be here because they don't want to be harassed. They see the country is in a fucking tailspin. They're like, this shit is not worth it. Or companies that can no longer hire for those people, right? And you're also talking about, well, I guess it doesn't include federal employees, but you are putting so many more people in the job market, like hunting for jobs. Like, this is going to make things just that much higher or harder. And you're also talking about if the economy is not doing well, and it isn't, if the economy is not doing well, then people who are like, well, we were going to expand our business, we were going to hire more people, they can't. So your numbers are going to suffer that much more. So at a certain point, whether it's the tariffs or it's just the general economy is going bad, whether it's like tourism is failing, that is also failing. Vegas had like an 11% decrease, by the way. Like people were,
it's the millennials' fault, Jay.
Yeah, I saw that article. They're not gambling enough. I'm like, that's one. What a weird take. Okay, like I know avocado toast is also expensive now, or some stupid shit, right? Yeah. It's always millennials. Millennials are 40 years old, by the way. Okay, relax. They're not 12. But tourism is down. The economy is tanking. Businesses are closing like crazy. I saw that like Rite Aid is now in bankruptcy, right? Like, this is not all happenstance. And because these things are happening, yeah, you're going to see unemployment rise. Like, black unemployment is skyrocketing. Black teen unemployment is skyrocketing. Like, up by like 10 percentage points and shit. Like, it's bad. Right? This is the guy who's like, oh, black unemployment was so low under me. One, you didn't do that. Black unemployment was low because of Barack Obama. Knock it the fuck off. But he liked to brag about it. When's the last time he mentioned that shit? He don't mention it. He don't. Right? So the economy is in, it's not in free fall, but it's getting right up to the, like in a roller coaster, right? You're cranking up that hill, and it's about to.
I mean, I'll put it to you this way: he never would, but he should be thanking his fucking lucky stars that the Biden administration kept the train fucking moving, over the
as well as they did. Yep.
Because once again, a Republican president has been insulated by the hard work of the Democratic administration that came before him.
Always. Well, don't worry, guys. Because he's already fucked shit up this bad, and it's only been 6 or 7, or it's been, 8 months. So he's got a lot of space now to fuck it up for the next 3 years. And so you're going to feel the fucking full brunt of this shit. You absolutely will. All right. Next up, let's continue in space. They're putting a nuclear power plant on the moon, Brad. On the fucking moon. Because we have money for this, right? We're so broke.
I will say, a lot of people poo-pooed the story when it came out. This is something that we have been looking to do for some time. It's not like that the Trump administration just came up with this idea. Apparently, there's like a big a space race to get to be able to claim strategic territory on the moon in some way, shape, or form to be able to kind of guide our slow expansion into the solar system. And the moon is obviously the first step. Like, China's trying to do it. Russia wants to do some shit as well. So this is just a play to try to beat our competitors to this. The timing of the announcement is, of course, very curious, which with everything else that's going on around this administration, it seems like that they're trying to throw out as many squirrels as they can to get people to stop talking about one other particular story. So far, not a whole lot of success.
Not working at all.
Right.
Please, I love that one tweet. Some guy was like, they're building a nuclear reactor on the moon. Jesus Christ, how many kids did he touch? It's got to be pretty bad. Look, the nuclear reactor on the moon, like from a nerd science perspective, is kind of dope and like kind of wild. I think I'd be more excited about like the science of this if I trusted these idiots not to fuck this up. I assume that this will blow up and blow a hole in the moon, and then we will all die horrible deaths. I just assume that's going to happen.
Now the good news is that the target date for the project would be after these fucking morons are out of office. So with any luck, serious people will work on this, and then President Pritzker will be able to claim victory for the accomplishment of this, because the target date for the project is 2030, which means that it probably won't happen until like 2032 at the earliest. So like there's still plenty of runway, I guess, for this.
I mean, I think that the first person who should go up to the moon to make sure this thing is fully operational, I think they should send the head of NASA and Donald Trump. Frankly, they should go and check it out before it even gets there.
They should. Why is the return shuttle taking off without us? No, come back.
No, you just blow it up. Just scuttle the ship close to the moon. You just scuttle it, just directly, just a hard landing into the moon. It's fine. Yeah, I can't believe that this is all being handled by the guy from fucking Road Rules. That's insane.
And this is his side hustle. Remember?
Oh, what was it? Oh, that's right. He's transportation secretary.
He is the head of the Department of Transportation as well.
How many jobs does Marco Rubio have?
I think he's still at 3. I think he's Secretary of State. He's the head of USAID. And isn't he like the interim head of like what else is he doing? There's something else that he's in charge of as well. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, they're really leaning into that whole like Latinos doing a lot of work.
Oh no, he's Trump's
He's in like an advisor?
No, national security advisor. He's chief NSA. That's right.
Cool. Yeah, I'm sure he has time to do all of these.
Definitely a job that you want someone to devote a third of their attention to, or probably less, because Secretary of State, I'm sure, takes up much more of his bandwidth than anything else. So.
Does it, Brad?
Well, I mean, that's a fair point. When you torpedo your relationships with all of your allies, I guess it's pretty easy to engage to do the job of the head diplomat. So, what do you have to say about this? Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna go back to it. I got other shit to do. Like which one? I don't know, man. One of my 7 jobs. Who cares? None of them are important to me. Next up, in a wretched hive of scum and villainy, I just put the headline: "What is happening to her?" Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't know what's going on. Not that I think she's welcome to the resistance type of person. I guess it's like is this the horseshoe moment for her? Not that she's coming to the left, but it's just like you go so far. This is the rare like Venn diagram moment where like some Republicans desire to be like shitty isolationists overlaps with our desire to not have the U.S. perpetrate genocide in Israel. And so it's just like, like I bet you didn't, think you'd be, didn't think I'd be fighting alongside you, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And she's like, how about a friend? And then I say to her, no, fuck you, get the fuck out of here.
You are not
on this one particular issue.
Yeah,
Shut the fuck up.
We are not friends. Oh my god. You are no Gimli, man. Well, maybe a little bit. So she tweets out, AIPAC is sending fundraising emails attacking me for saying, quote, the most truthful and easiest thing to say that October 7th in Israel was horrific and all hostages must be returned. But so is the genocide, humanitarian crisis, and starvation happening in Gaza. I am one of the only members in Congress that doesn't take money from AIPAC, who donates way more money to Republicans than Democrats. That's a fact. The truth is AIPAC needs to register as a foreign lobbyist by U.S. law because they are representing the secular government of nuclear-armed Israel 100%. Part of that statement is correct. They do need to register as a foreign lobby, but they are not a secular government. Okay? Knock it off. Israel is not a secular government. They're quite literally the very definition of the opposite. So I find that to be curious. I think you're right about the sort of going so far to the isolationist platform that you end up being like, oh, we actually kind of agree with you. She didn't have to say like, hey, this is a genocide and stuff. So I will give her the tiniest of credit for acknowledging reality, which I know is very difficult for her side. But it is a genocide. Like, it is. They are starving people. Like, we talked about that earlier. To me, it is an inarguable fact.
Now again, it's crucial. It's crucial. I cannot stress this enough that you do not press her on why she doesn't like Israel because because by sentence 2 it's going to get to space lasers in some way.
No.
We don't want to go down that route for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely controlling the weather, have control of the banking system, are evil, eat babies, whatever crazy anti-Semitic horseshit she believes, and she does. So yeah, like, again, not a friend. You can just stand in the front as we go fight the war. You can be the first to go down. It's fine. So I find that to be curious. The one thing I want to say that I realize, and maybe other people have long realized this, but I've never heard anyone talk about it. I was talking to somebody about, October 7th and everything else, and something I realized, they don't call it like the Israeli massacre. They don't call it like, Palestinian Aggression Day or whatever shit. They specifically say October 7th. And I think for right-wing Israelis and people who want the American sort of war support.
Oh, because they want to like link it the same way that like 9/11 is
exactly
thought
exactly
of. Yeah.
Exactly. I was talking to someone. I was like, "Huh, that's kind of interesting," and that's exactly what it is. You don't use dates like that in any other circumstance. But when 9/11 happened, when September 11th happened, that's what the U.S. did. And the only reason they use October 7th is to pull in the same sort of feeling. These few people were killed in this horrible way. I mean, and it's not that they don't matter. They absolutely matter. But that date, and the way that you say it, invokes like this massive tragedy that allows people to say it is fine to kill tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, displace these people, commit genocide, do ethnic cleansing. It just allows that because for us as Americans, we hear 9/11, like that was the worst thing that's ever happened. Let's go get them. People hear, right-wingers hear October 7th, and that same fucking switch goes off.
I never considered that, but you're probably 100% correct that that is the tactic there.
Yeah, I was talking to someone, I was like, wait a minute, it rung in my head. I was like, why the fuck do they call it that? Like, because that doesn't happen anywhere. That doesn't happen almost anywhere, right? I've never heard anyone refer to it as tragedy.
Frankly, it never happened in America. Like we don't say remember December 7th, like a day to live in infamy. Like no, we call it Pearl Harbor. Like that's
right, exactly.
That's what happened. Yeah,
exactly. So it's just curious. Like we don't say like we didn't do that for the first time the towers were hit, right? Like you know what I mean? It's a curious. That's in a way, it's like a really weird, gross version of marketing. Like it quite literally is.
I mean, it's the same. It's the same base tactics. Yeah, 100%. So yeah.
Just think about those things. Like when you hear stuff like that on the news, like what the fuck are they saying that language? Like why are they using that language? Yeah, it's there's a reason. There really is. So then the other thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene, which I'm like, damn girl, it took you this long.
This one was funny to me because I'm just like. So when you were a Republican, like you just didn't pay attention to anything.
You just didn't remember none of this shit. Like you're a little slow in the uptake there, sweetheart. So in an exclusive phone interview with the Daily Mail, Marjorie Taylor Greene opened up about her frustrations with her party while hinting that she's maybe planning an exit over several issues. One of which she claims is that the GOP is a good old boys club. That supports pedophiles. Ranging from donors to politicians, they have complete control over the party reins, to the eye of many women in the party who feel overlooked and snubbed, which she believes is doing the disservice to party constituents. quote, I think there's other women in our party that are really sick and tired of the way men treat Republican women. Don't do that. The way Republican men treat Republican women is what you should say, because this is your party. Don't lump me in with your bullshit. I mean, I think you're a horrible person who should never have power, but I respect you as a human being. I think that's fine. Just go away. I think that she says, I think there's other women, Republican women, and I'm just giving my opinion here, who are really sick and tired of them. Green, who has the largest following of any Republican woman in Congress, pointed to Representative Elise Stefanik as an example of a woman in the GOP who has been, quote, shafted. The New York representative was supposed to be U.S. ambassador, and then Trump was like, nah, stay in Congress, get the fuck out of here.
I can't lose that seat.
Yeah, can't afford it. She says, quote, I mean, she got screwed by Mike Johnson and she got screwed by the White House. And adding earlier that, quote, she's not afraid of Mike Johnson at all. Meanwhile, she noted Mike Waltz was awarded a promotion to fill the UN ambassador position after the national security advisor and former Florida congressman was fired following the massive signal encryption app group chat scandal, which is very true. Look, I think... You think she goes America Party, or you think she's just talking bullshit? I mean,
so here's
if
the
that party
thing, like,
if that party ever exists,
well, it won't. I mean, first of all, but secondly,
I don't know that.
I mean, since he announced it, they literally done nothing to actually formally make it a thing in terms of filing and stuff like that. So.
I mean, that's a minor point, but sure. Okay,
yeah. So, but anyway, literally the next line I think really does kind of underscore where she's at, because the next line is when she's talking about like the Signal Gate thing and how Stefanik got screwed, which she did. Quote, I'm not blaming Trump particularly. I'm blaming the people in the White House. So of course, like, it's never him, because I don't dare take a stance against dear leader for fear of him casting, the voice of judgment from the White House upon me. But it's the people that he surrounds himself with, even though it was 100% Trump's call, I'm sure, to put Mike Waltz in that position. Yeah,
of course. I mean, it wasn't even based on anything more than I don't want to be embarrassed that I have to fire this guy. That's all it was. Because the news was like, that dude got straight up fired, and he was like, "No, we're moving him into this." Elise Stefanik stay in that seat, and she was like, "Yes, sir." Yeah, that's it. I mean, what was she gonna do?
But I mean, please don't have a fucking clean read of this that someone will cut out and use against me later. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is right. I mean, shit, like, Republican women do get shit on constantly by Republican men all the time. Which in fact encourages them to act more and more insane, as we see from like a Nancy Mace, for example, who's taken the crazy pills, or a Lauren Boebert who's given someone handies during plays and musicals.
We like, not to be rude, Brad, we call those we call those Beetlejuices now.
Okay. Beetlegeese. Beetlegeeses.
Oh man, like, really, in the theater? Like, hell yeah, brother. So it's I mean, good for her that she's waking up to reality. Again, this is a thing that's hard for people in their party. Yeah, Republican men don't respect Republican women. Little slow in the uptake. They don't respect any women. They don't really respect anyone who is not them. And they barely respect each other.
And they did well before you got there. Like, it's not like this phenomenon just fucking happened. Like, they never have. All you have to do is look at the proportion of women representatives on the Republican side in Congress compared to Democrats. Like, it's insanely fucking disparate. And now that's not necessarily the fault of Republicans in Congress. Like, that's the fault of Republican voters being incredibly misogynistic, as a whole. But I mean, yeah, like, you're gonna have that same fucking, kind of mindset.
Well, the fish rots from the head, right? Like, I mean, listen to what Trump said the other day about the press secretary. Like, ooh, those lips. That In her brain, yes,
Oh
her
my
brain is
God.
also good.
Fucking,
Like,
dude, I did a great job of forgetting that fucking happened. I'm really
nope.
upset that you
Yeah,
brought it back in.
yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I mean, I at least did not hear the audio of him saying that because I feel
No,
like I would have vomited way more if I did.
Yeah, no thanks. I did not hear that, and I do not want to hear it. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. Next up, this is a funny little AI story. Go for it.
Yeah. So, AI continues to develop. I mean, ChatGPT 5 was released today and couldn't correctly identify the number of times the letter B appears in the word blueberry, which is not a great sign of things to come here. Which is why, if you are a lawyer or even a judge, you may not want to fucking rely on it to do your daily work. Just like Julian Xavier Niels did, who was a New Jersey federal district court judge who had to withdraw a decision that he made in a biopharma case because the lawyers on the case noticed that his opinion referenced fake quotes and other erroneous case information, almost certainly because he used a generative AI model of some sort to help write the opinion for him.
I mean, I don't think. Look, I'm not against using AI when it helps you in certain things. This not a good idea. Like,
No.
bounds of reason, bro. Bounds of reason. Also, I don't know, man. Maybe read. Like, go ahead and let me go ahead and verify whether this shit makes sense. And he's like, nah, fuck that. Like, I'm going all in. Like, okay, I wouldn't. But.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, credit where it's due. ChatGPT does at least fucking tell you at the bottom of the page, like, hey, ChatGPT is not fucking bulletproof. Make sure you're verifying information that it gives you.
Like, bro, just click on the links for sources. Like, be like, give me the source. Like, it'll send you a link. If you click on it and that link doesn't work, don't write that shit down. Like, don't copy and paste that into your document. That's bad. And this
as Bloomberg says, it's not unusual for courts to make small revisions to decisions following a ruling, such as correcting grammatical spelling and style errors. Major modifications like removing paragraphs or redacting decisions are rare.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Cool story. God damn it. Speaking of AI, this is another fun one.
Yeah, so the Trump administration a couple weeks ago laid out its like hey, here's what the US is going to do to support AI infrastructure as we move forward as a country and as it grows. And basically all of the goal is like, hey, first and foremost, we don't want to regulate AI heavily. But we want to make sure that it's not woke. Like, if we're going to regulate it, we just want to make sure that it's not fucking woke.
Please, for the love of God, no wokeness.
Right. But at the same time, they're also just kind of flagrantly being like, hey, like, if you're a company who's building AI data centers or, energy plans to support AI data centers or like pipelines or like semiconductor factories and that kind of shit, we don't really give a shit about environmental regulations when it comes to that stuff. So just kind of go nuts.
I mean, look, they're scuttling satellites because of the information. This is inconvenient, so I don't know why this would be any different for them. This is absolutely insane. I don't understand. Do they think that the Earth is just like it's a joke? Like that is actually not having problems?
Well, but here's the even more fucked up part, right? So like, not only are they just being like, hey, like, we don't care about the environmental impact. If you let's say you put a proposal forward, and you say, hey, like, instead of relying on like nuclear power, or instead of relying on other power that currently exists, we're actually going to power our data center with this big solar farm that surrounds it.
Right.
If you do that, or if you like lead with like wind energy to power your plant, you don't get expedited treatment for your proposal to go forward from the federal government. So basically, they're saying, hey, don't hey, if you want to fucking burn some clean coal, or you want us to you want us to give us leeway to drill baby drill, we're gonna speed line you through, but we don't want any birds dying from wind turbines.
And I mean this in the stupidest way possible. They're like a bunch of 12-year-old boys who are like, well, you better not that they think renewable energy is that's gay. That's their thought process. And so anything that's not fucking burning up gas or what have you, is no, you got to have a Mustang, bro, and you got to or a big pickup truck and roll coal. That's what's tough. It's the most bizarre thing.
I don't even think it's that. I don't even think it's that. It's that childish. I think what it really boils down to is two parts. Number one, they want to take care of people who own these offshore drilling companies.
Of course, that
fracking and stuff like that, because that's happening in America, and they want to take care of those people. And the other part of it is that because Republicans in the 80s torpedoed us getting off the ground when it came to being a world leader in solar energy and in the production of solar energy infrastructure. Because that already happened, China's now kicking the shit out of us when it comes to solar panel manufacturing. And so we're just well, we're not going to fucking help China. We're just going to get out of solar, in general.
But that's so it's fucking short-sighted.
It's stupid.
It's
incredibly stupid. Again, you have this fucking resource that provides unlimited energy for free in the sky.
It's right there, everybody.
and all
utilize
it is develop technology to harness it. And it's no, bro. We're that because that helps the Chinese, and we don't want to do that.
But
it's your fault that we got
no. But the thing, okay, this is what drives me crazy, and this is why Republicans are so hypocritical on the whole America First thing. If you say, okay, solar panels would be helpful to China's bottom line if we started putting them everywhere, then why don't we try to develop them? And I don't know, get the Star Spangled.
And I understand it from this part, because this is the same thing that affects the tariff piece. China's already doing it at such a scale. It would take us
to build
decades to get to that same.
Okay, so what? Then join up with them and start doing it.
Focus on what America is the leader in: service. Develop programs to get this shit installed. It's not that's
something.
Not fucking hard.
Yeah. Right, but and also China's thing has really been, we're just gonna shut the fuck up, put our head down, and just grind. And then when people look up, they're like, wait, China has these things? How is this possible? And it's because they don't spend so much time in all this international, not that they don't, I mean, they definitely spend a lot of time on the international stage, but they don't spend their time bickering over nonsense.
Yes, it's about. I guess that's one advantage of having an.
Yeah, it's the right. It's
you don't have to worry about people's opinions.
Right, just crush the competition. Right, but also there isn't a sense of there's not a sense of bluster with them. I mean, they're just this slow moving, for lack of a better word, dragon that is just we're just doing this thing. Right, we're all in line, whether you as citizens want to be or not. Everybody's in fucking line. And they're just moving forward shit. And we spend so much time with sort of political bickering that is crushing our inability, our ability to innovate. Right? Okay, you can't build the base level work, right? Because China is doing they're pushing so far on scale. You can't build to that scale. It would take too long to get there. I understand that. But like you said, focus on what America also has, right? We have some of the best fucking engineers in the world, as far as tech engineers, right? You got all these fucking Silicon Valley dorks who are always just working to try to dismantle democracy. Why don't you do a fucking project Warp Speed on climate change? And why don't we start using AI in ways to help combat that, instead of using AI in these weird ways to let these giant corporations basically screw people, or you know what I mean? Like, figure out ways to do that. Okay, you get the solar panels from China; they make a shit ton of money. Who cares? You work on integrating that shit into our infrastructure. Figure out ways to get more people on electric. Figure out more ways to save people money on as far as like buildings and things, electrifying buildings and, cooling and all. Work on those things. Use their base on their, like, the basic solar panels. Use that. Figure out ways to buy their solar panels and upgrade them, improve them. Surely the panels, things like that, like, surely there's technology that can, they can work on that make them move and operate, because, like, solar panels basically now you put them down and they don't move, right? Mm-hmm. You could build tech systems that help them shift slightly and get higher percentages of increased power ratings and things like that. We could do those things, but instead we spend so much time ripping down PBS and NPR, right? Like, that's what we're spending our time with in the government, where if we just figured out to pull our heads out of our collective asses, we could do amazing things. We're the richest country in the history of the world. If we took a fraction of the money we spend on bombing random brown people in other parts of the world, we could do amazing shit. You could. Like, there's no reason, like you said, if Republicans hadn't completely scuttled solar power work in the late 70s. I mean, never forget that Ronald Reagan most famously came and ripped the solar panels, not him personally because he was old and dumb, but, had the solar panels that Jimmy Carter had put on the White House roof. He ripped those off. Why? Oh, because I like gas. Congratulations, the world's on fire. The White House could have been a leading voice in that shit. It could have been a leading voice around the country. That could have been the time we were building to scale, but we didn't. Why? Because of political bickering. It's silliness.
It's not really just political bickering, though. I mean, the fact of the matter is, as long as the
and yes, there of course there's
industry
but
continues to have such an outsized voice,
right?
In our government,
I agree. No, I agree with that, but I'm saying that political bickering comes from that, right? You have Republicans and Democrats take money from oil and gas, but Republicans have an outsized interest in that, right? Especially from states like Texas and things like that. But their bickering is just a symptom of that fight of trying to keep their buddies' pockets lined. No, I 100% agree with that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I just think it's ridiculous that we can't do these things because we won't learn from our mistakes from the last 40 fucking years. So,
yeah, that's why we call them regressives, Jay. That's why we have for a long time. So
yeah, it's like you just can't. I titled this story "Check This Guy's Hard Drive."
This was another wild fucking story. It's as I said in our private chat, I cannot believe that this is the reaction that this dude has to the situation he finds himself in.
Wild. Okay, so GOP senator in Utah. He's the leader of the Utah Senate. J. Stewart Adams, resident creep, once said that transgender athletes put cisgender girls at risk. Is now facing criticism for his help to keep his 18-year-old relative out of jail after the 18-year-old relative raped a 13-year-old girl. Cool. So what he did was, there is a law on the books in Utah, or there was, that the Utah law says that people under the age of 14 can never consent to sex, and the old state statute required that 18-year-olds receive a first-degree child rape felony charge for having sex with anyone 13 years or older. 13 years old or younger. The felony charge required that the rapist to also register as a sex offender. However, the new law allows accused rapists 18 years old and younger to receive a reduced third-degree felony charge of unlawful sexual activity and avoid jail time and registering as a sex offender if they are enrolled in high school. If they are enrolled in high school is kind of a big part of this, right? So the idea here is, if you're, I guess, a high school senior and you're 18, and you had sex with somebody who was 13 years or younger, which would largely be people in middle school or younger, then you get this first degree rape charge, and you have to register as a sex offender or whatever. Zero issues with that. I mean, I guess there could be a situation where you could be in ninth grade at 13, which I feel like is maybe a little dicier.
I mean,
I still don't like it. I still don't like it. I'm just saying, like, because they're doing it because they're trying to separate you being in high school versus not being in high school. So I'm not saying I'm cool with it. I'm just saying there's definitely kids who start ninth grade who are 13. Like that. That's just a fact, right? Again, not cool with it. It's my kid. I try to kill this kid, like, to be honest. So I get the law. It makes sense. I mean, maybe even the law should be a little bit like, if you wanted to have like no nebulous sort of thing, like you just say like they have to be in high school, but again, you could still be 13. So I understand whatever their reasoning for that. 13 is super fucking young. It feels very young. But what happened was this guy's relative was 18, had sex with a 13-year-old, and I'm going to give you the reason why. Like, well, maybe she was in high school. She wasn't. She was in 8th grade. So even by the old rule, right, he was going to have to register as a sex offender and get the sort of first degree rape charge. When he was basically found guilty, but because they revised the law, his plea deal, or he was about to be found guilty, but his plea deal allowed him to plead lower so that he would only have to do like community service, not have to register as a sex offender. And it was basically like kind of I don't know if it was, I guess it was like a misdemeanor.
I mean, it effectively,
which is, freedom.
Probation, essentially.
Yeah, right. He got unlawful adolescent sexual activity, I believe it was, but that's not considered rape. So why? So why is this?
So it's still a felony apparently, according even under this new new law. So
right, but most importantly, it's not considered rape, and it's not. He doesn't have to register as a sex offender, which your life might as well be fucking over at that point, right? If you have to do that. So the thing is, what this politician did, knowing that his relative was up for this shit, and he knew that there was like a question about this law coming up, he basically was like, yeah, it's kind of happening to my my relative, and so they basically changed the law so that they expanded it so that if you're 18, then this is just this isn't as bad, right? So he did not write the law, which is kind of what I thought at first. I thought he like introduced this law, like, oh shit, my nephew's in trouble. Let me introduce this law. Like, it's not that, but he kind of whispered in the ear of the people who were working on the law, and so they were just like, all right, cool, no problem.
Dude, imagine.
Pretty gross.
Imagine if you're a fucking 18-year-old, and again, I will say, like, I mean, I understand why the law is in place. Hitting an 18-year-old in high school with a 25-year fucking sentence for, having sex with a 13-year-old while gross feels a little punitive. It like feels kind of crazy. As like 25 years is a lot for, someone that's 18 if it's a nonviolent crime. So like, you can certainly take some umbrage with like the severity of it. But can you imagine being like an 18-year-old kid and run into, I guess, like your uncle or your grandfather, like in this case, and be like, hey, Grandpa, I'm in trouble. And Grandpa's like, don't worry. I will literally change the law to keep you safe.
What a level of very weird, gross privilege this person has. But yeah, I mean, it's a dicey, like, I don't want to say it's dicey, but it's.
I mean,
it's not an easy thing to deal with. I find it entirely gross.
Going from a 25 to life sentence to probation and community service is
it's a big jump down.
Pretty big leap down.
Yeah, that's a pretty big jump down.
Like I understand if you would reduce like the prison, like I can even see where if it's like, hey, like if they're 18, like if they're under 20, for example, so like they're still a teenager, like you can reduce the potential penalty. Like that would be one, like
Sure.
to like maybe from 25 years to like 5 or 10 years. Like that would be a much more, like reasonable way to look at this. But to go from like, hey, like you're going to be basically in jail until you're fucking 40 to go clean up the highway for 40 hours.
Yeah, that's a wild jump down. Yeah, so it says Utah state law says that people under the age of 14. Oh wait, no, I already read that. But no, there was another part to this that I thought was kind of weird and interesting. No, I can't find it now. But yeah, he has to pay like he has to go to.
It's $1,500. He has to complete sex offender training.
120 hours.
20 hours of community service, and he has 4-year probation.
Right, and to the mother of, which is okay, fucking crazy. I just want to reiterate, this is not like a senior in high school having sex with a freshman, right? This is a senior in high school having sex with a middle schooler. Yeah,
go into the other school building to be like, hey,
right, like. It's a weird thing, and my kid's not involved, thankfully. So I'm sure I would have a very different perspective. But like, parents let their kids go to like prom with a senior when they're a freshman, and so it's like and like people are like, oh, my daughter or my son went to prom with a senior and they're freshmen. That's pretty great. Like, I mean, you do know what happens at prom. Like a lot of people, that's like the time kids do have sex. Like. It's like kind of weird. So like the idea of saying if you're in high school, it's okay like for kids to do their thing. I get it. Like I get it. But when you're like the second you step out of like you're in a different fucking era of school, nah, dude. Like throw the book at this kid. Like I'm sorry. Like throw the book at him. Like. Oh, but it's my nephew. Well, throw 2 books. Like, get the fuck out of here. That girl was she was in 8th grade. Like, no. And you could say, well, next year she went, yeah, well, it's not next year. Like, it's not next year. I don't know what to tell you. So, yeah, I mean, I agree. The severity of 25 years is really high. But at the same time, like, 5 is fine, right?
Yeah.
If it's not... And they do point out like this was not forced or coerced or something like that.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Obviously, if it's a sexual assault, that's a completely different.
No. Look, not 25 years, 50 years. Who gives a shit? Die in jail. I don't give a shit about that. But yeah, this is clearly was at least how the article says. There's a sort of a mutual situation between the two of them.
It's statutory rape is what it is.
Yeah, and I'm like,
I don't know. That's the term that I don't know why it's not being used in this.
Right, and that's exactly right. Like, isn't there like general rules for this? Like, okay, like this person was underage. Like, you get. I mean, look, it's Utah, so I guess it's just generally weird. I'm surprised that one of the things besides the fine and the community services,
unless you're like I'm surprised the law is like blah 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 ... unless you're married, which I wouldn't be surprised if the marriage age in Utah is 13. So
well, no, I'm surprised they don't just force you to get married. Like you have to marry this person, and you are no longer allowed to have caffeine or some stupid Mormon nonsense. But yeah, no, this politician is a real scumbag piece of shit. Like. You shouldn't be protecting this guy. And look, the mother of the victim, she was like, "Look, I feel like this is basically a miscarriage of justice." Yeah, she's not wrong. Like the law is the law, and it should apply to everyone.
Look, I mean, this dude had better hope that there's nothing. I hope he followed the Stringer Bell advice, and there's nothing documented that he didn't make this happen. Like everyone involved is keeping it on the up and up right now. They're like, oh no, I didn't realize that he had a relative that was directly impacted by this, and yada yada. I was like, yeah, but the timing sure is convenient though, huh? Like all of a sudden, like this guy's family member is kind of jammed up right now, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this law, we just happen to change this law to make it more favorable, and it just so happened to benefit a relative of the guy who's the head of the Utah State Senate. Like, God, just weird.
I mean, who could have seen it coming?
Yeah.
You know who could have seen it coming? Ghislaine Maxwell. She could have seen it coming.
She probably would have orchestrated the whole thing, quite frankly.
Yeah. She's like, oh, this girl's not even young enough.
So
gross.
Yeah. So Todd Blanche, who is the deputy attorney general, also Trump's former personal attorney during one of his two impeachments, decided to go down to Florida to talk to convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell, of course, the former associate of Jeffrey Epstein, who helped lure in a lot of the underage girls that Jeffrey Epstein assaulted, to talk to her about any information that she might have about the Epstein files, and especially whether or not Donald Trump could have possibly been involved with any of this malfeasance. And she apparently sat down for 2 interviews with him, and within like a week or so afterwards, all of a sudden gets moved out of her regular fucking federal prison in Florida to a minimum security women's prison in Texas.
Yeah, cool.
And wouldn't you know it, Jay? A report came out that said that during this interview, Ghislaine Maxwell said that she never observed Donald Trump involved in anything illegal. Which it's a good thing that she's not a convicted sex offender and convicted perjurer with an incentive to lie. Otherwise, we might have a lot of difficulty believing the things that she said.
They are softening right-wingers up for pardon. And this is wild. I mean, look, maybe they're just saying, hey, you're gonna be in this like sweet, club-fed sort of prison. But my guess is you can't leave her there. If you're them, you can't leave her there. You let her out, everything is fine. Pew, pew. Oh, she died. She happened to fall out a window and onto a shotgun 10 times on the way down. Russia style. Look, I don't believe anything she says, and like you said, she has every reason to lie. Because who wants to rot in prison for 20 years? No one.
Sure.
She's used to living the high life. She ain't built for that shit.
Again, I want to bring it up just in case you missed it, because people don't realize this. She's not only is she in jail for her like the sexual shit. She was also convicted of 2 counts of perjury, because when she was interviewed by the feds before vis-a-vis Jeffrey Epstein as a witness, she stated, "Oh, I never saw Jeffrey Epstein do anything wrong or illegal or improper to any of these girls," which was later found out to be a lie, considering that she was directly involved with it. So you really don't have to believe a word that she said.
No, not only do you not have to, you absolutely shouldn't.
Right.
She is a known liar. She has 100 names of people who were involved. I just assume that they're all like Bill Clinton, Joe Biden.
Sure, yeah,
all Democrats.
Sure.
Yeah.
Weirdly, Jeffrey Epstein hated hanging out with Republicans. So strange,
crazy,
very odd. The other thing that was insanely gross, that's going along with all this, is that I can't remember how it came up, but the media were like one of the questions that Donald Trump was getting. They were flying back from somewhere in Air Force One, and I think it related to like after Blanche talked to Ghislaine Maxwell, and they kept asking Trump like, hey, like, are you going to pardon her? For some reason, he keeps responding with the phrase like, well, I'm allowed to. Like, that's not what we're asking. Like, clearly you're allowed to. That's why we're asking if you're going to do it or not. But also, like, he talked about like why him and Jeffrey Epstein had like a falling out.
Yeah, well, they broke up.
Yeah, and like weirdly, like the reason that he says is because he kept stealing like staff members from Mar-a-Lago, but like the staff members that he was stealing were like the girls that he was sexually assaulting.
Yes, the underage
like,
girls.
Yeah, and like including Virginia Giuffre, I think is how you pronounce her last name, who was one of Epstein's victims who recently committed suicide because of her continued like feelings from having lived through that and stuff like that. Like, was one of the people that Jeffrey Epstein stole from Mar-a-Lago. But Donald Trump like doesn't give a shit about the fact that like what happened to these girls. He's like, oh, I just can't believe he stole them from my resort. So that's why.
I mean, I don't know. I read that in a different way, I guess. I think that is just two. I think two pedophiles got mad at each other because, hey, that was the young girl I was sexually abusing, and you stole her away so that you could sexually abuse her. I thought we were sharing her, or I thought that we were, I mean, they were known in the past of sharing girlfriends. Like, a woman would date Trump, yuck, and then date Epstein a couple months later or something like that, double yuck. So I think it's more of a like, that's who I was abusing, and that was my favorite one, and I can't believe you took her away. That sounds like something two gross pieces of shit would say, and that could be their fallout. I'm not so sure I even believe the fallout ever happened, to be honest. I don't. I think they were friends all the way until, he had him arrested, and then I'm sure he was thinking, oh, my buddy's going to let me out. And it's like,
but again, like, this is the same dude, Donald Trump, who, like, remember when she went to jail, like when she was convicted originally, and he was interviewed about, because by the way, she was convicted while he was president. Like, that's one of the parts that people seem to kind of like just kind of skirt right past. So like all the shit happened while he was in office the first time, and like he kept saying, like, when people asked him about it, he's like, oh, like, I don't really know what's going on, but I wish her well. And like people would like push back on him, like, why would you say that? And he's like, well, what? He's like, she was always friendly with me. Like, why should I have any ill will towards her? I'm like, because she's a fucking convicted pedophile, dude. Like that, like that. You should be able to change your opinion of somebody, no matter how friendly they were to you, based on like new facts coming to evidence. Like, I don't care how someone is nice to me. Like, if they were a fucking serial killer, I wouldn't be like, well, I hope everything goes okay for him. And that's a tough rep, but I hope everything goes good. Like, no, dude, you killed multiple people. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, but if you don't think that what they do is wrong,
right? Well, that's kind of what I was, circling around.
Yeah, it's like, cool, man. Like, I think she's doing great. If I have a chance, I'll let her out. So yeah, I mean, just real winners all the way around. All right, let's get through these last few here pretty quickly. This is more tariffs.
More tariffs are coming. Donald Trump decided to throw a 100% tariff on computer chips and semiconductors. But there is a way around it, Jay. All you have to do is publicly debase yourself in front of him, like Tim Cook, or Tim Apple, I should say, just did in the White House yesterday, and you can get around these things. So basically, Tim Cook came to the White House to do some real good genuflecting. Gave Trump a golden glass statue, and also announced that they were spending $100 billion on U.S. manufacturing for Apple products. And Trump's like, okay, I will let you have an exemption from this new semiconductor tariff that I'm going to put in place.
I bet they're not doing that $100 billion of spending until after 4 years. They're like, yeah, right around 2028. Like, yeah, sure, buddy. Like, they're not throwing that money away. Get out of here. I mean, Apple's got a lot of money, and they don't have. I'm just gonna blow $100 billion on nonsense money. Like, come on. I guarantee they're like, we're gonna plan to do this. We're working on a plan, and it's gonna start around 2028. That's when it really gets moving. And immediately that guy's out of office. They're like, get the fuck out of here, man. Send this money to India. Let's go make some shit.
It's funny too, because he's treating them like Best Buy treats you when you buy something expensive and you do like 12 months interest-free financing with them, where it's like, hey, like, you have 12 months to pay off this loan. but if you don't, you're going to get hit with all the back interest. Like, that's basically what he's telling Apple, like, hey, you're not building now, but I think you're good for it. But if you don't, like, not only are we going to start charging you, but we're gonna also charge you for all the tariffs you ducked around while you were dragging your feet. So,
yeah, okay. You and what part of your healthcare plan? Because you ain't gonna be around, buddy. Like, knock it off. Yeah, but my guess is they're just waiting him out, and that's a pretty good strategy, honestly.
100%.
Next up, this FCC story.
Hey, yeah, the shocker of all shockers, the Paramount Skydance merger went through, Jay. I know you're super shocked about it after they basically paid Trump a $16 million bribe, and then also decided, hey, we're gonna fire Stephen Colbert because he says mean things about you.
Mm-hmm. Well, they just gave Stephen Colbert 10 months to just dunk on them repeatedly, which is exactly what he's been doing. So yeah. It's great.
Part of this deal apparently was reportedly, or I should say not reportedly, rumoredly, David Ellison, who's the head of Skydance, has agreed to run $20 million of PSAs on CBS programming, advertising like the things the Trump administration is doing and like framing it in a positive light. He won't confirm this. He won't confirm any conversations that he's had with the administration.
Of course.
But if you start seeing weird shit pop up on CBS that's like weirdly like pro-Trump, just know where that came from.
Lovely. Oh my God. It's just like the WWE. It's just, they just corrupt everything. Like even things that maybe you even enjoy.
Yep. I mean, we talked about that a bunch on Dense Pixels this week. If you didn't, in the post office, we talk about like how, TKO WWE is actively driving a portion of their fan base away with the kind of week that they had last week, where it seems like that they are like some real mask off time for a lot of companies right now, who I guess are doing a lot of performative. Activism is not the right word. Like performative tolerance. I guess you could say there's like, whew, it's awesome that we don't have to pretend to do this shit anymore. Like, this is awesome.
I mean, it's a really weird way to run a business because pendulum swing, man. And you may think people are going to forget, but sometimes they don't forget.
Yeah.
And they go, 100%. Oh yeah, I remember when, just ask Target, right? Like,
well, and also too, as Elon Musk is finding out, liberals are the ones who seem to have much more disposable income. And so if you run a business that's predicated on people spending money, maybe you don't want to piss off the people that have most of the money that could go towards your business.
Well, and not only that,
ask Tesla how that's going right now.
Right. And look, the even, larger, part to that is liberals are way better at holding a grudge. They are. They are. We're way better at it, man. I haven't had Chick-fil-A in fucking 13 years or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't eat a lot of fast food anyway, but I would rather eat a hamburger off of a dirty McDonald's floor than to go and give Chick-fil-A my money. I'm just not going to, right? So, I don't care how good your Jesus chicken is. Get out of here. But they just use pickle juice, guys. That's why the chicken's so good. This shit is not hard. But liberals hold real grudges. Like, Republicans couldn't hold to the beer thing after 10 minutes. We hate Anheuser-Busch. And then, like, Kid Rock is like, yeah, I'm drinking a Bud Light. Like, I don't give a shit, man. Like, because they don't have a stomach for that shit, right? Because they're largely corporate bootlickers. But, like, liberals are like, I'll never drive that car ever again. Fuck off. And you know what? They generally stick to it. So, but no, by all means, like, keep pissing people off, man. Just keep pissing people off. As an aside, before we get to the final story, which I find to be just hilarious, as an aside, speaking of pissing people off, I don't know why people aren't talking about this story more, but I think that people should be. That story of the guy who went to New York and killed those people in that office building that's supposed to be the NFL or what have you, but he missed the floors by like 30 floors somehow. He drove all the way from Nevada to New York. I think the NFL was supposed to be in like floors 5 through 8, and somehow he ended up on 33. I don't think people talk about that story enough because, like, that narrative came out. They were like, "Oh, what an idiot!" And he's dead now. But one of the people he killed, he went to the 33rd floor and then killed a bunch of people who worked for Blackstone. And Blackstone is a really brutal, like, real estate private equity company, which buys up, I mean, amongst many other things, they buy up a lot of just, real estate and basically end up making all of that shit rental shit. In 2025, they went, or excuse me, in 2014 they had $69 billion of real estate. In 2025 they had $339 billion. This growth came largely from acquisitions across logistics, rental housing, hotels, and data centers. It is not a small thing that these people go in and basically buy up houses and raise rents. It owns and has interest in hundreds of thousands of rental units globally. Although they have less than 1% of U.S. rentals, they still own those rentals, right? Like, this is really a big deal. And the reason why I bring that story up is not just because I care about rentals, but because you have a mayor's race, a very nationally public mayor's race, and if you're Eric Davis, the current mayor of New York, Eric Adams, thank you. If you're the current mayor of New York and you're trying to convince people that you're doing a great job, it looks a little odd that two CEOs of these very publicly hated companies have been killed under your watch in less than a year. And I think it's really curious that they're like, no, this has nothing to do with anything. This guy was about the NFL. It's like, he had no connection to the NFL whatsoever. He didn't play football or anything like that. He missed the floors by like 20-something floors, goes up to Blackstone, and then kills these 4 people. Okay, like, he killed a security guard, like, getting into the building, and then I'm pretty sure everyone else he killed was at Blackstone. But very specifically, the CEO. This woman, the CEO of Blackstone. It's just curious. Maybe it's just coincidence, but I think 2 CEOs being killed in New York in less than a year, I don't think it's curious.
Who happen to work for extremely predatory companies.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you really want that to be the focus of that story? After you saw the public's response to what Luigi Mangione did? I don't think that you do. So, it is a curious thing. Like, you don't have to believe me. Just look it up. Because I was reading the Wikipedia on it, and it was like, victims. I was like, the CEO of Blackstone. I had not heard this anywhere else.
You know what else is curious about New York mayor's race? So we don't have to get into this because I think just the act itself speaks.
Oh, dude, this story is amazing. Go ahead.
When you have Chris Cuomo reaching out to Donald Trump to try to find ways to help him defeat Zoran. Because, again, power way more important than holding to principles when you're guys like Chris Cuomo and Eric Adams. So,
wait, no, Andrew Cuomo, not Chris Cuomo.
Yes, sorry, yes, right, wrong Cuomo.
Yeah, wrong Cuomo. But no, the wild thing is, though, it was also reported that Andrew Cuomo is looking not only for advice, Trump's endorsement.
Yeah, like he wants his help. So,
does he not? Is everyone on his team? Is their head filled with rocks? Do you realize that a Donald Trump endorsement to your candidate is a death knell to a Democrat in New York City? That's insane to me.
But he's not running as a Democrat, Jay. He's running as an independent.
Do you think Republicans are going to vote for Andrew Cuomo? They're not going to.
If he can make him, well, it's either him or the black guy.
No, it's either him or
Curtis Lee was not doesn't stand a fucking chance in that race. Get that.
He's got that beret. Everyone loves that beret, right? He likes cats. I think he's insane, but he's a Republican. I just can't. I cannot imagine, even with Trump endorsing Cuomo, which would be nuts, by the way. I think that helps Zoran so much more, to be honest.
Oh, it would absolutely help him. I mean, it's already helping him now. Like, he's already getting to run ads, be like, can you believe this fucking guy's running the Donald fucking Trump?
Right.
Because he's so afraid of me.
Right. Everything I told you about these guys turned out to be true. And is right. Yeah, I mean, look, you want to help Zoran Mondani?
I can't wait to see him and Adams have a grovel off to Trump to see who can get his endorsement. Because I'm pretty sure Trump is endorsing one of them, not Curtis Sliwa. So
yeah, probably. Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, cool, man. If that's what you think is going to work, please proceed, former governor. Like, by all means. I can't wait to watch you lose.
Eric Adams, to be fair, Eric Adams has already done a fantastic job debasing himself, being Virgil to Tom Homan's Ted DiBiase so far on Fox News several times. So.
Dude, I saw a clip of Eric Adams. He was talking to a bunch of black constituents, and he's like, you can find me at 3 a.m. I'm sitting at the barbershop smoking a cigar. I'm just like y'all. And I'm like, all the comments. Yeah. Like, one, why are you at the barbershop? You're lying. You're not there. Trust me, I know you're not there. I know a skull shaver when I see one. But more importantly, it's like all the comments from the black people were like, you're supposed to be working. What the fuck are you talking about? You're drinking Hennessy. He was like, I'm drinking Hennessy and smoking cigars. They're like, do your job. Like, why are you trying to appeal to us by like acting like just like this kind of dumb hood dude? I mean, granted, you probably are, but like, you're supposed to be the mayor of the city. You're supposed to be doing your job. Like, it's one of the most offensive things, and like that you think that will go over well with people. And look, there's a certain group of people it will go over well with, but the vast majority of people were like, "Yeah, fuck you, dude."
I mean, look, it's the same fucking playbook as like, oh, like Raphael Warnock's popular in Georgia. We got to get another black guy that might be even more popular to run against him, and all they can do is find Herschel Walker. So like, it's the same kind of fucking mindset.
That was
from there.
I'm going to be around in politics. Where's Herschel Walker? Nowhere to be found.
Back in Texas.
Yeah, why didn't you know what? I'm surprised Trump didn't tap him for the fitness test thing. But I guess he was like, I gotta find a sexual predator. Where's
Lawrence Taylor? That's the key there. He's like I gotta stick with like-minded people here. Let me go find Lawrence Taylor, who once pleaded guilty to having sex with a 16-year-old. But it was okay, Jay, according to him, because she was a prostitute and not a regular kid. So like that made it all right, according to Lawrence Taylor.
God, I was on crack at the time. But I mean, somebody in the media have the balls to be like, why is the president including Lawrence Taylor, who is a known sexual predator, in his fitness test?
Yeah.
And does this work? Is this the type of narrative he wants, where people are questioning him about his connections with Jeffrey Epstein? Just say that. Just say that in a fucking press conference once.
I will give Lawrence Taylor credit.
It'll be a last day.
I definitely thought he was dead. So, like, the fact that he was on the Presidential Council alive and well, shocker to me, I will say.
I love that he was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm here to serve. Which I'm like, as a black man, that is not an okay fucking thing to say. Get the fuck out of here. To serve? To serve you, is what he said. Like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Speaking of shutting the fuck up.
Dude, this story is amazing.
I haven't seen it. I can't wait.
No? All right, here we go. Republican woman running for office thinks women shouldn't hold office. Let me read that title again. Republican woman running for office thinks women shouldn't hold office. This Republican woman is running. Her name is Miley Biggs, the daughter of Trump-loving Republican Representative Andy Biggs, of course.
Oh, this explains so much already.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Really, my dad is doing is answering a lot of questions. That my candidacy is not. She is running for a seat in the Arizona State Senate, and a year ago, she went on a podcast and says she doesn't believe women should hold political office. Quote, honestly, I don't know if I would vote for any female. I don't know if females should be in office, Biggs said on the show. There are a lot of really good women in office. I'm not trying to hate on anyone, like some really good congresswomen. Yeah, I don't think women should hold office in general. That is my position. That's my stance. I think women should run the home. She launched her campaign by saying, "My parents taught me to love my country, the Constitution, and to value my freedoms. I've watched so many good people in my life serve this country in the military and in public office. I too seek to serve. Um, I hate the 9 to 5 schedule. I get home. I don't want to do anything else. Like, women aren't built for this." Cool.
Boy,
You're not. You're not built for this.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I can't wait until that podcast interview gets thrown in her face repeatedly while on the campaign trail. It's going to be amazing.
As it fucking absolutely should. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. Just really, really unbelievable. I just don't understand how these people live on the planet and no one calls them out.
I thought you were going to say walk around without falling down frequently.
I mean, also that. I mean, Brad, if you were having the chance to interview this woman, like you're in the press pool, what is your number one question to this this knuckle dragging moron of a candidate?
It would just be literally to like, hey, so an interview. You said that you don't believe women should hold political office, that they should be tending to the home. So were you lying then, or are you a massive hypocrite?
You're lying then, or you're lying now? No, I mean, I think that's the right question. Like, or you could just be like, "The fuck are you doing here? You know, like, get the cooking."
Why aren't you in the kitchen? By your own words, not mine.
Yeah, yeah. And I would also try to pit her against other women in her party.
If you're not built to work a 9 to 5, how are you going to work a job that has, an unknowable amount of hours to it? Yeah,
right.
So
and then I would and she's in Utah. I mean, I don't know. Do they allow women to run for office?
Arizona.
Oh, Arizona. I don't. Yeah. I would just be like, I would just start naming local politicians that are women in the state Senate or the House or wherever she's running, and I would just be like, do you think that none of these women deserve to be there? Because in that podcast, that's what you said. You don't think any of those women should deserve to be there. And I'm curious as to why you believe that, but somehow think that you're the exception to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put these people in a corner and make them answer questions, dude. Stop being nice.
It's really not that fucking hard.
It's not.
It is astonishing me how many people in the media lack basic interviewing skills.
Yeah,
stay on a question. Don't let people wriggle out of answering. Don't let people give you if they don't give you an actual answer,
push back.
Don't let them move on.
Yeah.
Stop and let them talk. Like don't wait to hear yourself talk. Like silence is an amazing swear to get more answers, because people that often get interviewed feel the need to fill the void. There's actually a great interview earlier today that Eugene Robinson of MSNBC did with Scott Bessent about tariffs, and he basically was there to get Scott Bessent to admit on TV that it's actually the importer who pays the tariff and not the shipping country that that Trump and gang have been trying to say. And Scott Bessent kept trying to wriggle out of the question, and Eugene Robinson kept I get what you're saying about this, but I'm just saying someone buys something from Brazil, there's a 50% tariff, who is writing the check for that tariff? And he would not let him get out of that question until he admitted, yeah, it's the importer that is paying that. That's right. That's cutting that check to the Treasury to pay for that tariff.
So there you go. Yeah, no, it's a very, very good tactic. You got to stop being so nice to these guys. Look, you may lose your access, but take them. Go down fighting.
Is it really worth it if you're not going to get them to speak truth?
Right.
That's
right. Hold their feet to the fire, and if you go down swinging. That's it.
Yep.
And then make it a viral moment, and then start your Substack, and
look, if that these people will never appear on anything to the left of Fox News, okay.
whatever.
No problem. Like, trust me, there are plenty of Democrats who will be happy to fill your airwaves to talk about the actual things that are affecting the country today and speak to you in a way that is legit. So,
well, at least reasonable, right? At least reasonable. All right. So yeah, lady, shut up. You don't deserve to be there. Go back in the kitchen or whatever it is you want to do. Just say you're incapable, right? Just say you don't have the smarts like a man or other women who are smarter than you, because you don't. So good. I hope she loses that race, and everyone should throw that shit right back in her face. I hope she runs against a woman. Like that would be ideal.
That would be the ideal, because then it just, I mean, again, the debates.
It's like you don't even just. Like, why are you even here? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, didn't we already have this conversation? Get out of here. All right, that is it for us. Long show because there was a heck of a lot to talk about. But we will maybe see you next week. Depends on what my schedule is. But we're going to try to get stuff out as quick and fast as we can. I'll be back in my normal home at the end of the month. So probably September, everything will be like normalized again. We'll try.
Yep.
Yeah, but we'll try to get a shot every week. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye. Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.